All right, so the next article I'm going to read is called When Kids Tell Lies. When Kids Tell Lies, and I'm not sure when this was written. I saw a cobra on my way home from school. Honest, I did. Believe it or not, I answered every question right. The teacher asked me. No, I swear I didn't touch that money in the drawer. All of the above statements were made by 5 and 6 year olds, and strictly speaking, all of them are lies. But they are, in fact, vastly different, reflecting the varied motivations that give rise to the telling of untruths by children. For the first child, the motivation was the need to win attention by startling his listeners with an outlandish tale. Some children need untruths because they feel ignored. Many a childish Many a childish fish story is nothing more than a message to parents. Please notice me. Hmm. So oftentimes lying behavior is attention seeking behavior. Don't punish your children for seeking attention, but explain to them the difference between, what they're doing. Or anyway, I'm not going to try to parent and teach right now. I'm just reading this article for y'all. So, for the second, it was the yearning for parental approval. Children may fictionalize their activities because it helps them heal a bruised self concept and avoid the intolerable possibility of rejection when they fail to meet a parent's standards. So the second one was honest, I did, believe it or not. I answered every question right the teacher asked me. I think that's supposed to be heal a bruised self confidence and avoid the intolerable possibility of rejection when they fail to meet a parent's standards. For the third, it was fear of dire punishment. In more households than we might imagine, harsh and repressive discipline, including physical punishment, leads to lying as an escape and evasion tactic. Clearly, the most sensible response to a child's lying must depend on an understanding of its roots. Here, however, are some general guidelines to keep in mind. Don't confuse a fertile imagination with lying. Like younger children, some 5 year olds make up stories from time to time, but they are not lying in the conventional sense. Their tales are products of imaginations working overtime. A sensible response avoids confronting or demeaning the child, but still acknowledges the fiction. Hey, that's a great story you made up, says one father to his son, as if the lad were tomorrow's Isaac Asimov. Let's write it down and read it to mom tonight. Oh, that's actually a good idea. So, if you have a child with a vivid imagination, give them props, give them credit for their imagination, but also have them write it down. You never know. They might author a series of children's books. All right, so pay attention to the behavior that is being lied about. Lies are sometimes clues to trouble spots, especially if they form a pattern. They can be a tip off about a problem in the child's world that she is trying to deal with by lying. Is the child reshuffling the facts about school performance? Perhaps her self esteem is eroding under the onslaught of the impossible first grade expectations of her teacher and parents. Try to look beyond the child's stories to their emotional roots. What is so intolerable and anxiety provoking about the child's world that she needs to flee into the unreal? Wow. So is your child lying because she's just so embarrassed, or he's so embarrassed, or just so insecure? Lying is often a touchy subject with parents and children, with people in general. But lying is the root of, being afraid of something. Yeah. What are you afraid of exposing? What are you afraid? Is it an insecurity, getting in trouble, messing up, hurting? Yeah. Reevaluate your disciplinary tactics. Some parents literally encourage their children to lie by meting out excessively severe punishments for wrongdoing. If you were certain you would face solitary confinement as a consequence of your midnight raid on the refrigerator, would you gladly come clean when interrogated by your spouse about the missing pie? The analogy is not as far fetched as it may sound. Countless children made to feel threatened and defensive over even minor infractions are propelled into a pattern of lying simply to escape unduly harsh reprisals. So some kids, like, you force them to lie because they feel like, what they're doing doesn't match the punishment that you want to give them. So they're going to lie. Avoid double standards. Your best efforts to teach honesty are likely to do little good if you end up being observed telling untruths yourself. If, for example, your son hears you tell a caller on the phone, "No, Fred isn't at home right now," when dad is sitting right there at the dinner table, you are hardly in a strong position later that evening to be preaching sermons about truthfulness. Yeah, we definitely have to get away from do as I say, not as I do. No, 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 no. Kids are watching your behaviors all the time. I vividly remember, like, my mom talking about one friend, behind her back, and then being her friend. She stopped being her friend eventually because the lady just wasn't cool. But I remember that, and as a teenager, I would look at my mom, out the side of my eye, and just be like, "Psh, whatever, like, why you doing this and why you doing that?" Um, so yeah, avoid double standard. Your best efforts to teach honesty are likely to do little good if you end up being observed telling untruths yourself. For young children, your own white lies of convenience are impossible to differentiate from his own sinful ones. In the final analysis, it is an underlying feeling of mutual regard between parent and child that is the best inoculation against telling lies. That means, like, your honesty between you and your child is the best way to prevent um against telling lies. So, in homes marked by confidence and trust rather than suspicion and fear, truthfulness is likely to be the prevailing currency of parent child relationships. Wow, that is so true. So, is your home filled with confidence and trust, or is your home filled with suspicion and fear? Because that's going to determine the truthfulness that you have with yourself, with your children with you, you with your children, all of it. Let's search ourselves and lead by example. I love y'all.